finding missing sides using trig functions. The steps to find missing sides using trig functions is the first thing you may want to do is draw a stick man at the given angle. Then you would need to identify the given sides. Just simply write opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse on the given sides. Then you can figure out which trig function to use. Is it going to be sine, cosine, or tangent? Set up the equation and then solve for the missing variable. So in our first example, we're solving for x. We need to draw our stick man at the given angle, and we need to label our sides with opposite, adjacent, and hypotenuse. Well, x is the adjacent side to the 15-degree angle. 9 is the hypotenuse because the hypotenuse is always across from the 90-degree angle. And this other side over here is opposite. So with the x and the 9, we have adjacent and hypotenuse. So you should remember that cosine is adjacent and hypotenuse. Once we know that we're using the cosine function, now we just need to do our ratio that we were practicing the past couple of days. Well, so we know it's going to be cosine. It's going to be cosine of 15 degrees. And our adjacent side is x. And our hypotenuse side is 9. So we got to set up our equation. This is our setup of our equation. From here, we will then solve for x. Well, to solve for x, we will need to either divide or multiply. Well, the trick is if x is up top, then you're going to multiply. You're going to be multiplying 9 times cosine 15. So 9 times cosine 15 degrees. Okay, and then from there, we type it into our calculator. When you type in 9 cosine 15, you are going to get 8.69. So 8.69 is our final answer, and it represents x, which is the adjacent side. So in example 2, we're going to be solving for x. So we need to draw our stick man at the angle 50. The purpose of drawing the stick man is just letting you know where you're going to be starting at. You don't want to start anywhere else but where the angle is at. So then from there we need to label our sides. The 9 represents the adjacent side, x represents the hypotenuse side, and then over here represents the opposite side. Even though nothing is over there, that is still the opposite side to the 50-degree angle. So we still have adjacent and hypotenuse, so that's still going to be cosine. So cosine theta equals adjacent over hypotenuse. Well, our theta is 50 degrees, since we know the angle. The adjacent side is 9, and the hypotenuse side is x. So now we need to decide if we're going to be multiplying or dividing. Well, on the last example, we said if x is up top, we multiply. So when x is in the bottom, we are going to be dividing. So you just swap the places. So we have x equals 9 over cosine 50. So from there, we need to type 9 over cosine 50 into the calculator. And when you do, you're going to get 14.00. We'll just leave it as 14.00 or just 14. And that represents x, which is the hypotenuse. Our last example here, again, we're solving for x. So things has shifted a little bit. We still have our 51 degrees in the corner. So our stick man will be there. So again, that just identifies where we're starting at. The 10 represents the adjacent side to 51. The x over here represents the opposite side. And of course, our hypotenuse is across the 90-degree angle. We do not have a number or variable to represent that side, so that means we're not using hypotenuse. There's only one trig function that does not use hypotenuse, and that is tangent. So tangent theta equals opposite over adjacent. So then from there we need to plug everything in. So tan theta, well, theta will be 51. The opposite side will be x, and the adjacent side will be 10. Well, now x is up top. So if we have x up top, do we multiply or divide? We will multiply. So we multiply 10 times tan 51. So then from there, we type that in the calculator to see what our x will be. When you type that in the calculator, you are going to get 12.35, and that represents our x, which is the opposite side on the triangle. Don't forget to take the quiz at the end. It's about 2 questions, and try your best. The only way to receive homework credit is if you take the quiz. Happy quizzing!